Hey guys, I know I said I was going to come on and actually talk about what I asked you guys, which was what kept you from starting and finishing paying off your student loans. So I was asking you guys to tell your truth. For those of you that did, I greatly appreciate it. And my truth, boy, I have no idea how long this is going to be. But my truth for why I never started even paying off my loans before is it's almost like when I think about it, it makes me sad. Because when I even considered thinking about my student loans, initially I ran. Like, literally, I graduated from pharmacy school and I ran for the first 6 months. I worked, did my normal business, and every day my mom would say, Sally Mae called. She said, they called 3 times. You have to deal with this. And I remember thinking, I'm sorry, what? I have to pay the money back? Really? Because all those years, it felt like Monopoly money. Real talk, Monopoly money. It didn't feel real, you know? So those first 6 months, I ran. And then when I finally called Sally Mae, he proceeded to threaten me. To threaten me and pressure me and saying, well, you need to really pay this now and you have to do this now. And in fact, I had to hang up on him and call back to speak to somebody else because he got my blood pressure up. I was angry. And I called back, and then I ended up saying, okay, forget about it. I can consolidate. Sally Mae won't consolidate anymore. So I called Direct Loans, consolidated my student loans. So what was 15 loans became one loan of $105,000 or something like that. And I mean, this didn't even count the some odd $40,000 that was the Parent Plus loan that my parents had. And it was just this big mountain of mess. One loan instead of the 15, which may have been easier. Who's to say? It's really hard to say. But I had one mountain of mess. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to die with this debt. In fact, I would say that out loud. So, everybody in the world, including myself, you hear yourself say, I'm going to die with this debt. I'm going to take these loans to the grave. And so every time my parents asked me about it, that was what I said. Because that was, at the time, that was my truth. That was the only thing I thought that I could do with 6 figures worth of anything. I was like, oh no, we won't be paying this back. It's okay. I'm going to pay my little $600 and keep it going. And for the longest time I did. For 9 years I did. So I consolidated, and then for 9 years it stayed at $105,000. I'm like, you mean to tell me that I've been paying the last, at least 7 or 8 before I was like, really? 7 or 8 years? And it never actually went anywhere. It stayed $105,000 for over 7 years. 7 years. So I was like, what do I need to start for? It's not going anywhere. I was like, I'm paying every month. I'm paying them over $600 a month, and it's going nowhere. So it was like I had no hope. And I'm sure I wasn't the only one. And still not the only one, right? I didn't feel like there was any hope. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do anything about this. And then, let's see, probably around year 7 or so about 2015, I refinanced those student loans. And when I refinanced the student loans, I had them at a lower interest rate. So everything that was 5-6% went down to 3%. And who knows to say what really happened? Maybe at that time it had already been 8 years or so. So I'd already gotten to the point maybe where I had paid most of the interest. Maybe. But when I refinanced with a company, I actually finally started to see the number go down. So I would pay an $800 payment, and I would actually see the balance decrease. I mean, hey, it seemed like magic to me. But the point is that all of a sudden it was like I had hope. And it seemed like it was all of a sudden a fight worth fighting, because I saw that I had hope. And so, I mean, that's kind of when it spiraled into this big thing of tripling my payments. And, that's when it all began, when I finally started to think that I could do something about the debt. So I had gotten hopeful. I had really started to shift my mindset that maybe it was possible. Listening to podcasts and reading books about people who became debt free. All of a sudden, things seemed brighter. Like I could do something more, than be trapped for another. Because I had 6 figures worth, and I actually refinanced my parents' loans. Well, my loans in their name under my dad's name back into my name when I refinanced. So then I had like $113,000 to pay off. So yeah, that was when I finally finished. Was like 9 years after graduating, but it was after. It's a long journey. It is, but it's worth fighting for. But I stumbled along the way, like everybody else. Everybody assumes that, okay, you did this, that means you're different. You did. No, same really. But you have to decide that you want more. You want more and you deserve more. You have to decide that, and that it's time to be hopeful again about it. It's time to be hopeful that you can be debt free, that you can be free of the student loans. I know that you've dragged around like I did for all those years. And then you start shifting your behaviors around money as well. And it changes everything. So that's my answer for, what kept me from starting initially, and hey, how to finish. Have a good night.